Hey, happy Monday. Hope everyone is good. So, my topic for today is the transition from being like an entrepreneur from the corporate world to an entrepreneur, addressing the behavior. You know, each day we have this routine that we do. We pride ourselves where we wake up early in the morning and we wake up, we get dressed, and we have our morning routine, we exercise and so on. And we have, I just gathered this data, I just happened to pass it and I thought it was really cool. We have 86,400 seconds deposited in our life each day. That's really cool, right? So if $86,400 was deposited into your account every day, what would you do with that money? Would you invest it? Would you share it? Would you give it to donations? Like, what would you do with that money every day? And what happens when you give that money and you think later in life where I should have, could have, would have? Now, we're taught from when we're a child that we have to go to kindergarten. We have to go to first grade. And then in first grade, you're like in this box. First grade, you have to go to second grade. And then you have to get good grades. And then after that, when you have to get good grades, because you want to make it into high school. Now we make it into high school and you want to get good grades because you got to get into college. Now we get into college and what happens? If you don't have enough money, it's okay, right? Because you can just borrow money. But if you borrow money for the next 20 years plus, you can be paying back that money for the rest of your life. We're always working towards that end destination where at the end destination is when we finish school, it's telling us that you want that corporate job that you want to land. So now we graduated high school, we got into the college that we wanted and we took that loan. And now we're applying for the job and now we're like, oh, we made it. That aha moment came. Now we sit at our desk and that aha moment came, but now we're up against something else. We have to get that target. We have to climb the ladder and we have to hit that quota. And not only you have to hit that quota, you have to appease your boss and all the stuff that goes with that. So ever feel like you just have like this mental breakdown of like, where am I going in life? It's like you could come to 40, because at this point where you pass college and you get that job, we're around 40 years old, 35 years old. And it's a potential of like that we're just going away at our life. And it could be at 40 years old, we don't know what we're doing. So it goes back to the example of we get 86,400 seconds per day. Now, if you sleep for 3 hours, you can just kill, depending on how much you sleep. You can put 25,000, on the side just because you sleep. And if you don't sleep effectively, then you're tired and then it eats into the rest of the time. So what happens? We don't know where we're going with that. So we have, let's say, 35,000 left from it. But if you have a strategy and you sleep well and you take pills and all these other supplements that we can, make more of at our time, and we can wake up at 4 a.m., to make the best use of our time. But you don't want to live your life every day where there's like an end goal. You want to live your life every day where you're looking forward to your days. Like when you drop out of the bed, when you jump out of the bed in the morning, where it's like you feel music, you feel alive. And it's like, ever feel like when you put that music on and it's like you just melt in that song and it makes you feel so good and it makes you feel so present and alive. And it's like you feel like you could accomplish the world. But if you're in that corporate ladder and you're back at the desk and you're in that grind of needing to get that quota done, it all goes downhill because we waited our whole life for that aha moment. And what happens is that we're living every day and almost it's like an end point. But at this point of this example, we're 40 years old. It's like our life is really just beginning. And at this point, sometimes people are transitioning from a corporate ladder to an entrepreneurship. And there's a habit of doing 5 key things along this ladder where people do this to themselves every day. And they try to please everyone. They have a very big fear in change. And I know I'm guilty of that. I'm like a very big person of fear of change. Another thing I've realized is that people live in the past a lot. And it's kind of like how we grew up in childhood. It's like how we're living every day. So it goes back to that example of before of, you know, we grow up and we have to go to kindergarten, we have to go to first grade, and then you have to get the good grades because you want to get into good high school. And if you don't get into a good high school, you're not going to get into a good college. And we're living in that past of how we were taught. Instead of feeling like, it's like that feeling when you're present in every day and you're alive and you're seeing what's going on of how to live. And it's not just necessarily like how we were taught when we were kids, it's like what we feel what's going on now. The next thing is we put ourselves down a lot and we tend to overthink. And I can share that I overthink, and I definitely, at times, I think that the overthinking, you can put yourself down with overthinking because then you feel you're not good enough. But when you're an entrepreneur every day and you're fighting that battle for sales and you're in that grind every day to do what you want, you need to have a conversation with yourself of like where you are and to be present every day. Because if you do these 5 things, it's not going to help you move forward. And you're probably wondering why, if I'm an accountant CFO, you know, why do I say this? And now why my life is like not about like some tax savings tip and, you know, the new tax act that came out the end of the year. I say this because the behavior of what we do every day is what transforms us in our business. It's not necessarily about me telling you about the best new credit card with points or the best strategy of separating business and personal, which we could get into. And if you're interested, please hit me up with a message and I'd love to share that. But what I'm feeling present in my world right now is that people feel that there's like this of a magic wand that, you know, about that success. And I'm guilty of that too, which is like a truth bomb today. But the good things that come are those who, you know, they work on their journey and follow their vision. And I'd like you to just think about, you know, how you were brought up and see, you know, are you living your life how you were brought up? And it's not a bad thing, but does it align with where you want to be? Because I've realized that in my business journey that I was running MBS also lots of times in a way of like the way it should be, or the way school taught me, and you know, like the book where we were memorizing things in the school along the journey. But that's not what life is about. Life is about, you know, feeling that music, feeling that energy, and feeling alive to help you climb that ladder. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling out there and you're mad at the external world and you're upset, you know, today's only Monday and there's a lot of things that you can do to make your week more successful. And one quick thing I'll let you know is that I find very valuable for myself is journaling. And I find in the journaling there, as I start my day and I end my day, it helps me see where I'm at and where I left the day. And that gap in between helps me pick up the day. There's plenty of lists out there of to-do lists and great things that I can share with you. But the journaling always comes back to of what's going inside, because it goes back into that example that I started this live with. We have 86,400 seconds a day. Once I gathered that knowledge, I said to myself, like, you know, what would you do with that? What do we do with all that time? We can time match and do all these great things with our time. But it all goes into what you're looking to get out of life and what you're looking to change to make that next big success your story. So to sum up for today, let's stop to try to please everyone. The fear of change, let's try to poke holes in that and not really let that take over our energy every day of what we need to do. Let's not live in the past, let's live in the present. And the next thing is don't put yourself down and don't overthink. And if you find yourself in any of these, stop, take a moment, take a breath, and just do like a little check-in, take a walk, or like I was telling you, put on that favorite music that's going to help you realign. Or like if you have a God, my God is Hashem, that you can connect and just, you know, talk to him and just share that, get you back into present. So that's what I got for today. If this helped you in any way, I would love if you shared it with your friends, and feel free to give me some comments below. Let me know what spoke to you, and if you need help with anything, as always, I'm here for you, and I would love, love, love to speak with you. Hope you have the great rest of your day, and speak soon. Love you all. Bye.